IT departments, basically IT. You had a bunch of guys, a bunch of blue collar guys, uneducated guys that decided to go into IT. Why? Well, it's kind of like what you do if you're kind of I'll be nice and say underachiever. I'll call you an underachiever, and you want to take a shortcut. And if you're in America, I'm talking about America, and it's spreading around the world gradually. But if you want to, the easiest way with the lowest hurdles, if you don't obtain, say, like a university degree, is to go into kind of a trade school, and you become a healthcare person. You go for 3 months, for 6 months, and you become an ultrasound technician. You understand? This is kind of, that's a whole nother topic of discussion about the whole healthcare system in America, how it's a fucking complete scam. Anyway, I'm not going to get into that. But the whole thing with IT, and you saw this, 20 years ago, basically, the internet during the dot-com, all this money pouring out, and you saw a lot of guys that weren't too educated learning IT, and everyone was a fucking PC repair guy, right? And so my point behind all this, and this kind of gravitates towards computer programming, and that's what it is. It's not computer science. It's not a fucking science. Never has been, never will be. It's not a fucking science, okay? It's computer programming. That's what it is. Science is science. There's laws of the universe. That's chemistry and physics. That's it. But you don't need a degree. Anyone can learn computer programming. You can learn it from home. Okay? It's a trade. It's not a, it's not a science. But so what you had is a lot of these people getting some who are really, they're learning from really, for the most part. I mean, there are some people who do, but for the most part, the industry is dominated by. And that whole, the whole industry is a scam because it's built upon these companies that are parasites like Microsoft and Cisco, little certification, all that bull. That's all a bunch of bullshit, and that all ties into all the updates. That's why you're getting all these fucking updates every year, because it creates new programs, So you have a whole huge boiler room industry of a bunch of fucking underachievers, basically, and this is who you have to deal with in IT. Okay, that's anyway. So IT is bullshit. I think that they fucking suck. They've always sucked. And I can't wait until IT is replaced by fucking AI, which is kind of ironic because, it's fueled by IT. Anyway, so I'm going to get into the Epstein files here shortly. And folks, listen, I'm one of the first people in the world to uncover the reality of Epstein. On my website, I wrote a very comprehensive article 10 years ago on Trump and Epstein. I made a video which took me, 40, 50 hours to make. Okay? And it's a work of art, actually. It's not, it's not this cinematography. It's none of this fucking fancy bullshit. But the way everything's put together and the pictures and everything is pretty fucking brilliant, if I may say so myself. I showed the black book of Epstein's black book. I went over Trump, showed he's a con man. This is when Trump was running his presidential campaign, his first term. This was in 2016. This was during the peak of this Pizzagate bullshit, which I said a long time ago. I didn't know what the fuck it was. Somebody told me about it, and I laughed at it when I heard in 2016. I said, "Are you fucking nuts? Complete bullshit." And then I told him, it's like, listen, do you understand what's going on? What's going on is all these people out there who are Trump supporters, and they're all these people out there who talk about, they take their orders from the kingpins, and they don't even know they're taking orders. You understand, right? They were told these little stories to deflect, to distract from Trump and Epstein, because in either early 2016 or late 2015, some lady filed a lawsuit against Trump and Epstein. It could have been the Virginia girl. I can't recall. She was 13. I posted the court case on my website where Trump calls Epstein a blank, starts with a J, bastard, because they were fighting over her virginity. I've got the whole court case on my site. everything. During that time, everybody was talking about this Pizzagate fucking fraud. And if you fell for that, you're a fucking idiot, okay? Same people that fell for the Mayan calendar bullshit. Same people that fell for Alex Jones and are falling for Tucker Carlson. You people, you got something wrong with your fucking head. You got something wrong with your brain. So, well, no offense if you're IT, but you know what I'm saying. You know what I'm saying. You're surrounded by a bunch of low-hanging fucking fruit. I mean, not all IT guys, of course. I'm saying in general. I mean, my IT guy, my developer, you know, he's got a degree in engineering. And the reality is that he can make more money in IT. So of course you're going to go to IT, right? But so here's the deal. Back then, when I made this video, was exposing Trump as a con man. I mean, I wrote an article about him being a con man 20 years ago, almost 20 years ago. It's pretty obvious. You know, folks, if you can't see through a person, you've got big problems in this world. Stop falling for the bullshit that comes out of people's mouth. Take a look at their character. You can judge a person's character, not by what they say, because the biggest frauds out there are going to be nice to you. They're going to tell you what you want to hear. They're going to make it like they're on your side fighting for you. Okay? You judge by their actions. What are they doing? And if you look at the Epstein files, take a look at all these fucking dirty rats. Are you surprised? Are you really surprised that Steve Bannon is implicated? Are you? If you are, then you don't understand what the hell's going on. Not only is Steve Bannon a complete degenerate, criminal, piece of fucking trash, money-worshipping parasite, as you all know, he defrauded the Fund the Wall scam, which I actually tipped off the feds on that. I may have been the person that they got the info from. I don't know, but he was also involved with Miles Kwok. Go back on my channel, look at the video. Miles Kwok, Steve Bannon, Raoul Paul, Kyle Bass. I called all that shit, right? Remember Miles Kwok? I mean, I knew Miles Kwok was a goddamn fraud when I saw him. You know, folks, successful people, wealthy people don't boast about their wealth, okay? They don't do it. The only people that do it are the ones that obtained their money through criminal activity. Those are the people who are boasting about their wealth, okay? It's fact. I mean, it's fact as far as I'm concerned. That's my experience in life, living life for decades. You don't have anyone who's made money. I'm not going to say one, because I don't know that there's anyone in the world who's made a large amount of money completely honestly, without any type of, you know, but you know, within, let's say within reason. Anyone, just go through the list. Ask yourself who boasts about money and wealth. It's either people who don't have it or people who have stolen it. I mean, take a look at Donald Trump, right? Of course, this guy boasts about everything, which tells you he's got nothing. He boasts about how smart he is, right? He boasts about how, and these are both lies. They're both verifiable lies. That's a whole other topic of discussion. He boasts about how successful a businessman he is. Obviously, pretty much of a lie. You all can verify that for yourself. And he boasts about all the money he's had. And of course, we found out why. It wasn't just a pride thing. Donald Trump was boasting about all the billions he supposedly had, which I think any intelligent person knew he was lying. He didn't have it. All these years, he was fabricating his net worth in order to get inexpensive loans, which he got fucking slammed for. He got sued for. He got fined for. Okay? Now let me tell you something. And we're going to take a pause here. Are you all getting pauses? Because you all getting any pauses at all? Is there any breaks for the connection or anything like that. So anyway, let me just finish with this Pizzagate bullshit. And it seemed like everybody and their fucking mother believed it. At least, everyone who's like a Republican. Why are people so stupid? Fucking stupid idiots. And it's gotten worse. Right? A few years later, you had Joe Rogan telling everybody that the coronavirus is fake and ivermectin cured it and all this. These people, honestly, like Joe Rogan, and there's like a whole fucking army of them who the vast majority, if not all of them, are related, by the way. I believe those people are causing major harm to society. And they should be lined up and fucking taken care of judiciously, let's just say. Okay? If I'm under control, they're going to jail for life at best. Okay? I'll tell you that right now. So, the Pizzagate was engineered specifically to make a smokescreen for Trump and Epstein back when Trump was running. They didn't want that to get in the media, okay? So they made a case that the Clintons were involved and some Podesto guy or whatever in child trafficking. Isn't it ironic, folks? Isn't it ironic how the Pizzagate, the whole big thing from 10 years ago, they implicated the Clintons? Did it? I mean, maybe I'm wrong. I didn't look into it much. Wasn't it the Clintons involved in that? Was it not? In reality, it was Trump and Epstein. Now, tell me the media didn't know about that lawsuit. Of course the media knew about that lawsuit. It was public record. Why didn't the media say anything? The reason why, folks, I've told you before, if you really believe that the media is so much against Trump that they would do anything to discredit him, they're not going to do that. They're not going to discredit Trump to the extent they're not going to show him without his clothes on. You understand? They'll call him names and humiliate him and whatever, but they're not going to expose what he really is. You understand? Because that would cause people, Americans, to understand their government, their political system is one big fraud. You see? That's the fact. That's the reality. And so we're gonna see here shortly how the Epstein files proves, without a shadow of a doubt, Israel runs America. Because Israel and individuals from Israel, prominent individuals, including former, see if does this help? See if I think it help. They also, the people that run these platforms, the whole media, they want to promote their own. And everyone else, you're fucked. And folks, this has all been proven. 20 years later, and I'm still banned. And I have written some of the greatest work in the history of economic analysis and investment analysis. This is according to ChatGPT analysis. Okay? Think about this for a second. This is why I'm woken up. I woke up because I experienced this shit for years. I didn't have an idea. And then you start looking and seeing, you take a close look at what's going on. And then you examine things more carefully and you see what people have been talking about for a long fucking time. But I've lived it first fucking hand, and nobody can tell me I haven't. I'm telling you right now what's going on. You wonder why dumbasses get in positions they don't deserve, right? If you happen to be from Israel, you're going to go to a country, and there's many of them around the world, let's say America, which is very heavily controlled by Israel. There's so many control levers I can't even begin to tell you. And I mean, let's take Lex Friedman, for example. Let's use him. He's one of the newer Mossad operatives. There's no doubt about it. Lex Friedman. Okay? Think about it. I've already talked to you guys about how I believe Lex Friedman is a Mossad operative. It's pretty obvious to me. His whole story doesn't make sense. I mean, if you just look at the guy, you can see he's pretty much of a dumbass. He's not an intelligent guy, right? He's not intelligent at all. And then just as a summary, think about it. First of all, let me just, you all probably don't understand. You probably don't know. Some of you might know, but there's a lot of connections going on. And the fact that his father is a professor at a university, and he went to study at that same university. That university is like, it's like third tier. Drexel University. It's a fucking shit school. Okay? Why would you go to that school? Because you see, if your father happens to be, and I question whether he deservedly even has his position. I would have to see evidence that passes my litmus test. I'll tell you that right now, because I have some suspicions going on. But Lex Friedman, who's a fucking dunce, no doubt about it. How is he? First of all, take a look at all the people he interviews. Just about every single one of them is fucking related to him. It's even more so than his buddy Joe Rogan. And then you look at, like I said, some of the people he's gotten on his podcast, right? Some of these world leaders. Like, how does that happen? Oh, well, Lex Friedman, he's got guys that know other guys, and they contact these guys and tell them, yeah, go on his show. You understand what I'm saying, folks? Right? The Prime Minister of India goes on Lex Friedman's show. Why would he do that? Why? I mean, seriously? Folks, hopefully you guys, you know that Lex Friedman's a Mossad fucking agent. Okay? And anyway, I mean, there's no doubt. I'm willing to bet, in my mind, anyway, I'm willing to bet a lot of money Lex Friedman did not obtain his degrees legitimately. I believe, and I'm sure there's evidence out there, it's out there somewhere, I believe he obtained his degrees through fraud. Why would you go to university? Remember, if one of your parents is a professor at a university, without any other variables involved, you're automatically going to qualify to get into a better university than you qualify for. You all understand that, right? Than you qualify for based upon your grades. Does anyone have a parent that's a professor at a university? Anybody? Anybody? Well, I know a lot about university system, okay? A lot. I was even on the alumni interview committee that interviewed local students, local incoming freshmen, to decide pretty much, I mean, it seems like I had a huge clout because everyone that I passed got in. And no one that I failed off the interview got in, is what I determined. But I know a lot about that whole system. And I can tell you, if your parent is, and I don't know why, maybe because they figure, okay, well, it's kind of like, athletics. Oh, your parent's a coach. Okay, he lives and breathes the sport. He's going to be successful, right? Why would Lex Friedman, because I'm sure his grades weren't great, but why would he go to Drexel? He could get into somewhere else because his father is a professor. Maybe, I mean, if it was a good school, a great school, okay, I understand. But you don't want to go to school, in the same school with your dad, looking over your ass all the time in the same department as, well, are you fucking crazy? That's like a nightmare. Who would do that? Maybe someone who couldn't get a fucking degree without their dad's help. You understand? And as I mentioned before, he wrote these bullshit papers that were not peer-reviewed. He pumped them out there as if they were legitimate on self-driving. He did all that to legitimize it to get Musk on his good graces. You see? And he should be standing, he should be there in court with Musk. Anyway, so I shouldn't even talk about that fucking insignificant weasel. But folks, when you look at all the material, and we're going to look at a lot of stuff here. Of course, Alan Dershowitz, that's fucking dirty fucking rat. Dirty rat Alan Dershowitz. There's no doubt in my mind, and I've always known this, he's a fucking operative for Mossad. That's my opinion. And how do you know it? Well, folks, when you got someone that's always in the media, blabbering, and they're not, he's overemphasized way too much, and he's always a pro-Israel guy. And I mean, think about it. You all understand, Israel runs our media. You all know that, right? You do know that. That's why the media is not talking about the influence of Israel in the Mossad files. They're not really talking about that. They're talking about the influence of Russia. You understand? You all know that, right? Did I tell you all the story? I think I told you all. I don't know if you heard it, but back around 2000, and I have the emails, by the way. Back around 2010, 9 or 10, basically my last attempt to contact media, for the most part, as far as I can remember. Imagine, I'm trying to contact media since the middle of 2006. And so I get a hold of Robin Blumenthal. Robin Blumenthal. Interesting name, huh? She's a senior editor at Barron's. And I'm on the phone with her. So this is one of the few times I actually got somebody on the phone. Okay? And so she's like, well, send me your book. Okay? In the meantime, I send you some chapters on the real estate, right? And we're talking. And I learned, you know what, from now on I'm recording all the fucking phone conversations. Well, although it doesn't really even matter these days anymore. But she is vetting me. She's asking me what I think about Israel. I kid you not. And I know that she's, let's call her Israeli by her name. And I know what she's doing. And I'm not going to lie. I say, well, I don't care about Israel. Israel's nothing, doesn't do anything for me or this country. Why would I care? So she's actually basically saying, okay, are you a pro-Israel guy? If you are, then we'll take a look at you. This is what they do. And this is why, one reason why I think it's much easier for the media to promote certain people when they think they're automatically going to be pro-Israel. You got it? I was discriminated against. And if I speak about it specifically, I'm going to be defamed and called names because I was discriminated. Think about it, folks. We have clear evidence. This is why I'm spending so much time on ChatGPT auditing of my track record. You can do the same fucking audit yourself. Now, you can't do the full audit because you only have access to a small sampling, but you got enough access. You got enough. You got the 2 chapters, the 1 real estate chapter from each book. You got excerpts from chapter 16, 17 from Apocalypse. And you do a full analysis. You can see for yourself what ChatGPT is going to say. Okay? You got it? Ain't nobody can come close. I've done the analysis already. Which, let me go ahead now. Well, if you guys want to hear about Epstein more, you're going to have to wait. You're going to have to wait. Because I'm going to go over, for some of you who don't know who the fuck I am, you see, because people are fooled. People what I'm going to do now, let me go ahead. Let me go ahead and address some things here. So, yeah. So, listen, Epstein. I knew from day fucking one, Epstein was a fraud. And I'm talking many years ago. Why? Because when I heard this guy, I heard you got to understand. I heard the news many years ago about Epstein. When I heard this guy about 2015 maybe or 14, and the news is hedge fund billionaire. Hedge fund billionaire is what they would call the guy. So first of all, I'm thinking, wait a second, I'm in the hedge fund industry. I advise a lot of these fuckers. I know who the fuck all these guys are. If he's a billionaire, how come I never heard the guy? Because if he's a billionaire, you know, the hedge fund billionaires, you know how they make their billions, right? They don't make it because they're great investors. They make it through fucking fees. That's a whole other scam run by the mafia. I've already explained that before. It's a complete fucking fraud. Okay? What's going on in the hedge fund industry? They're raping middle class people. That's right. Middle class who've got their pensions invested and don't even know about it. And guess who's controlling their pensions? Guess who's sending their fucking pension money to the hedge fund guys? Let's just say they're related. It's a whole nother fucking topic of this. I can prove it all. You can go and take a look. In fact, go and take a look in the state that you live at. Take a close look at the state treasury. Take a close look and see who runs the money. Take your pick, whatever state you're in. I already fucking know. Okay. But I already knew. So they're making the money off of the fees, not carried interest. I mean, maybe sometimes, but they blow the fuck up. You know, they'll make a good year, and then. But mostly these guys they're not earning the money that they're charging. What they're doing is they're getting a lot of assets. So I knew if he's a billionaire, he's got to have a lot of assets, which means he has a lot of fund, right? A lot of assets under management. I never heard of the guy. Epstein? I'm thinking like, isn't that the guy from Welcome Back, Kotter? Right? You know, Epstein, isn't the Epstein that fucking, right? Welcome Back, Kotter, you know that fucking TV show from the 70s? Right? That's the only Epstein I ever heard of. So I already knew there was something up with that. And then I heard, you know, I looked into the guy a little bit. Oh, he's former Bear Stearns. First thing I'm thinking is, oh, makes sense. There's a lot of fucking Bear Stearns fucking. Bear Stearns is a dirty, filthy, fucking bucket hole, shithole, scum firm. I don't even want to associate myself with Bear Stearns. I'll associate myself with UBS, where I also worked, where I started. Bear Stearns, you look at the filthy scumbags that have come out of Bear Stearns. Dirty fucking rats. Okay, I'm glad they fucking didn't make it. Dirty fucking rats. But, and then I knew especially it was complete bullshit when I heard he was supposed to be from Bear Stearns. I never heard of the guy. Okay? So you all know the story on Epstein. Basically, this is a high school dropout. He became a high school math teacher. Okay? Probably, I would say, a substitute teacher. You can't teach. Pretty sure. I mean, I may get the facts wrong. I didn't look up this shit before I started this. This is just kind of the memory without thinking about it. So he was teaching kids, probably substitute teaching or something, tutoring, I don't know. And so he runs across Ace Greenberg, I think it was. That's the former, the guy at Bear Stearns, the CEO for the longest time. And I think he was maybe tutoring or teaching his one of his kids. So he found in that. So he ended up working at Bear Stearns. Okay. So that's pretty much the end of the story. You know, I mean, he didn't know what the fuck he's doing. Maybe he got him a lot. Maybe he was given a lot of accounts, just making free money, doing nothing. But of course, he wants to tell everyone he's a fucking genius with money. Yeah. I guess he was kind of a genius at money, considering he made a lot of money in a way that no one else does by blackmailing people, right? So, and you all know, of course, the story. I mean, the whole thing doesn't make sense. Folks, think about the connections here. Think about all the people involved. I'm going to show you some specific stuff here in a second. Okay? I'm going to show you a lot of good stuff. And, I mean, most of it I haven't even gone through yet. I'm just going to be going for the first time. But I've got some stuff I've seen. So, and by the way, I spent a total of 20 minutes on the Epstein files. So I haven't even really looked at any of this stuff. My life is too precious. Time is too precious to waste obsessing over this bullshit. Okay? Especially when I already knew the deal many years ago. So how did Epstein make his money? He made his money from people giving him large sums of money for supposedly, I mean, think about it for a second. If he's this great hedge fund manager, okay, show us, okay, you made this amount of money from your fund. No. Les Wexner, the old billionaire fucking pedo, apparently, I would say, he gave him a few $100 million. And who's the other guy? Who's the other, was it Leon Black? Was it maybe Leon, Apollo Management? You all look it up while you're doing that. Look it up. Two guys, basically, he got about $650 million off of, something like that. Both of them for estate planning. Right? Think about it. I mean, first of all, I can tell you right now, Epstein's aptitude for managing money was probably about the same as Bernie Madoff. Okay? But it's not even, he didn't even make his money for that. He made his money through estate planning services. I mean, you all understand what estate planning is, right? You've got to go to law school. You've got to be an attorney. And if you're going to be dealing with very wealthy people, you're going to be running a whole fucking office. You're going to have dozens of attorneys and accountants. Wealthy people, billionaires, are going to go to large international law firms that specialize in international law and estate planning. And some would be just purely, depending on what they want to do. But most certainly they're going to be big law firms. They're not going to go to some little fucking guy who doesn't even have a law degree. And I can tell you right now, I can't imagine someone like, let's say, Jeff Bezos, who's, what is he worth? 200 billion, 300 billion. Even him, I can't imagine that he would spend 600 million on estate planning. I can't imagine how there could ever be a fee that high for estate planning. You understand? So clearly those guys were claiming it's estate planning. Why? Well, because if they claim it's through an investment performance or something, they have to show it. This way, they could just, it's kind of generic. Oh, estate planning, he helped me and gave me advice. Okay. Clearly, those guys, I believe it was a payoff either for, is a hush money because they did something they shouldn't be doing. Wink, fucking wink. Or it could even be a conduit from Israel. I doubt the second one. I doubt it's the first. I think it's the first one. Okay? I think it's pretty obvious. And of course, they're not investigated. Oh, okay. Whatever you say, okay. I'm not telling anyone anything that they didn't know before. I think most people already knew that Epstein was involved with Mossad and was getting high-profile people in compromising positions, recording evidence for blackmail. Okay? And that's how the U.S. government is controlled. Donald Trump, there's no doubt about it. In fact, in my video, I implied that he quite possibly, and I personally believe, without any evidence, I believe based upon his behavior, based upon the things he said, I believe Donald Trump, there's a good chance that he engaged in sexual relations with his daughter when she was younger. In fact, he's even said if he were not her father, he would date her. He said that about her when she was a teenager. Okay? Remember, Donald Trump is also, this is a guy who owned the Miss Universe pageant, would go in the back and check out all the girls. There's no doubt that, in my mind, that Trump is a sexual deviant and a pedophile. But that's just my opinion. Obviously, I don't have any evidence, but I'm willing to bet a lot of fucking money. But that's the least of Donald Trump's problems, okay? The problem is that, like all these presidents, he's compromised. They're all, folks, why do you think they get into office? Because they're compromised. That's how they're controlled. All of them. And Donald Trump is the most compromised president, perhaps, in U.S. history. Because he was compromised decades ago when he got bailed out by his banker buddies, when he blew up his casinos in Atlantic City. He owes them, you understand. And then back during that period, that's when Donald Trump was, let's just say, allegedly helping, and let's call them Russians. We'll call them Russians, even though you could be more specific in who they are, their ethnicity, but they're from Russia, launder money. He was involved, allegedly, with helping Russian mafia crime bosses launder money. Folks, why do you think he's in real estate? You think Donald Trump has ever built a fucking building? Hell, most of the buildings in his name he just licensed the damn things. And you all know real estate is a pretty common vehicle for money laundering. This is what we're talking about, folks. Then you take a look at Congress. Take a look at Congress. Every time, you ever wondered why the war criminal Netanyahu, who apparently, I don't know what percentage, but apparently many Israelis don't like the guy, right? I haven't checked lately, but I don't think he's that well liked in Israel. But every time he comes before Congress, he gets 4, 5, 6 standing ovations, right? Because they know who runs Congress. They know who gets them elected, and they know what type of line they have to toe to get elected. Because if they don't toe that line, that pro-Israel sentiment, guess what? The guys from Israel are going to they're going to contact their operatives in America that work in the media, and they're going to make sure to trash the opponent that doesn't support Israel. And they're going to send their money to the other opponent. This is how it works, folks. It's how it's worked for a long time in America. Israel is absolutely a national security threat to America. They've been spying on America for many decades. They're jeopardizing America in the Middle East. America's fighting their wars. And you should expect a false flag operation to try and get America to attack Iran. I expected a false flag from Israel. They've been trying to take Iran down for years. That's the last one. They've gotten the U.S. to take down all the other opponents of Israel in the Middle East. That's why we went to Iraq. You all know that, right? That's why I went to Iraq in 2003. This shit's got to fucking end, man. And it will never end because take a look at who controls the discourse in America. Dual citizens of Israel. So now, not everybody, by the way. I'm not gonna say everybody, but by and large, I mean, you do have some dual citizens of Israel, just like you have Israelis who don't support what this fucking lunatic is doing. Right? So you do have some dual citizens who do speak about it. But the question is, are they truly speaking about it because they want something to be done? Or are they doing it as a marketing ploy because they're low on the radar and they want to get more money, more views? That's the question. Because guess what? I don't really trust a dual citizen of Israel to inform me about the wrongdoings of Israel. I would prefer someone that doesn't have a dog in the fight, if you understand what I'm saying. You know, Mel Gibson's famous line. Right? That's the problem that I have because, folks, it's all about controlling the narrative. If you control the narrative, if you are an alleged dissenter of the pro-Israel propaganda and you're a dual citizen of Israel and you are exposing that, you control the narrative. You decide when not to take that next step. You understand what I'm saying? That's a problem. But that's the best situation you can hope for in America, is some lower level dual citizen of Israel who's going to talk about these things. That's the best situation. And once again, it's called gatekeeping. It's gatekeeping, okay? Because they're never going to talk about the connections in America. They're going to talk about Israel, but they're never going to talk about how Israel controls from within, from Israelis in America. You see, they won't touch that. And we're talking about something much larger than just control of our media or our markets. We're talking about when you are a foreign country and you have agents in America, unregistered, namely APAC, as well as I believe many other entities. But when you're talking about this massive control lever that controls the money, controls the news, think about that. Think about how you control that country and how you can get them to fight your wars and how you can get them to send you money, grants they don't have to pay back. America is officially, and it's been gone for a long time. There's no doubt it's controlled by Israel, externally and from within. I mean, I'm not even going to say it's got to stop because I don't think it can, because Americans have let it go on for too long. And so the control is just, it's so pervasive, it's just impossible. The country's done. America is on course for self-destruction. It's on a pathway of self-destruction, no doubt about it. And you take a look, take a look even the societal, take a look at the Hollywood music industry. Look at what that's done to the society. And now look at capitalism, how that's all poisoned. America is on the road to ruin. It has nothing to do with this bullshit you're going to hear from these crypto gold pumpers, dollar, all that bullshit. That's all nonsense. They're all fucking, and take a look who they are, by the way. They're also fucking dual citizens. Isn't that kind of funny? Everywhere of influence. So let's take a little pause here. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to show people who the fuck I am. You know what? I can say anything I fucking want. I can curse anywhere because I'm the big swinging dick. I'm the top motherfucker. See, I can do that. I write the rules. I'm the top guy in the investment world as far as research and analysis. And by the way, I still got $1 million challenge out there. I've got 2 of them. Anybody out there, if you can show that there's someone out there that's got a better track record from the financial crisis than me, you get $1 million. Now take that to all the fucking news media. Take that to your top guy. No one has ever done that in the world. You think I'm naive? You think I'm just stupid? I'm going to lose the money? The other challenge is I've got the best investment research track record since I've been in the business 2006 to current. That's going to be harder to prove for both sides. There's a lot of data there. So the easiest way for you is just to go take a look at my financial crisis track record. In fact, it's much easier for you that way because you're not going to be able to see my research track record in full, the audits, until we are at a certain stage. This way you can do it right now. You can't look at all my financial. The public material is out there. You can analyze it. Nobody comes close to me. That's fact. And I'm banned. Think about that one. Folks, the media is designed to make sure to create the dumbass money because you don't pay the media. The media gets paid by Wall Street. The financial media is funded by Wall Street. And Wall Street ain't going to advertise on the financial media unless they're going to get a good return on their investment. The only way they're going to get a good return on their investment is if the media steers their audience into the fucking gutter. Creates the dumb money. You understand? That explains why they have a bunch of fucking numbskulls, idiots, con artists, broken clocks in the media. The second portion of that is understanding the relationship. You notice just about all these guys are related. I already talked about that earlier. It's called discrimination. So it's two-pronged. It's two-tiered. You know, the amazing thing, as I've noticed from ChatGPT, has analyzed, the total amazing thing is that as time has gone on and my track record is becoming more phenomenal, which you would think would put more pressure on the media to hear what I have to say. It's actually done the opposite because I am so overwhelmingly number one that if revealed, it would completely destroy the media. It would show how useless their people are. It would show how useless Wall Street is. That's the problem that they face. That's what ChatGPT has come to conclude, by the way. So let's take a look here. Before I do that, let me take a little break here. I want to make a little announcement. I'd like to get your all's help if I could. I didn't realize it's been so long. It's been since middle of 2024. I saw a video on ScamTube, and it was a video by Stephen Keen, K-E-E-N. He's I guess, retired professor of economics. And it was something like, don't study economics. And so this is a guy, I don't know a lot about him, but he's a guy who has, he's one of these guys that to some degree, and there's a few of these guys out there, to some degree they kind of resent or they go against the economics establishment to a certain degree. But it's kind of like, okay, you all are all wrong and we're right. I'm right. You know. And the reality is, I think economics is largely a fucking trash. I was trashing IT earlier. But IT is far more valuable than economics, in my opinion. Okay. Even though IT is responsible for a lot of scams and so forth, but economics it oversteps its reach. it does a lot more harm. It's a lot more disinformation, I think, than good. But anyway, so I saw and I'm going to show you shortly here. And we had a little interaction. And I said something like, well, I didn't study economics. I turned out pretty well. I predicted the financial crisis better than anybody. And so Steve Keen's one of these guys who he honestly believes that he predicted the financial crisis. And he probably believes that he predicted it better than anybody. And my conclusions were that he didn't even predict it, didn't even come close. I can explain that sometime later. But anyway, I want to show you the interaction because it's coming on 2 years now, and he still hasn't gotten back to me. I offered him he doesn't have to front any money, 50 grand. Now it's $1 million. He's got to put up $1 million, but 50 grand if he can prove it. Why would he run away? Why would he delay for 2 years? Right? Somebody remind him, please. I noticed actually somebody about a year ago reminded him on his Twitter account. So I thank you for that. But let me go ahead and show you now. He's a nice guy. He focuses on some Minsky model, which I guess is it basically says when private debt gets too high, it creates crises. That didn't create the financial crisis. What Steve doesn't understand is the financial crisis wasn't created from private debt. It was created from leverage, from fraud, from a lot of things. Just because you have a lot of debt doesn't mean anything. Okay? But anyway, let me show you something here. Here I'll show you right here. So here's the here you go. Don't study economics. Top economist warns. I mean, come on, dude. You're a professor and you got to call yourself a top economist. Something is off there. I mean, you already have, And by the way, he was promoted by Lex Friedman. So Steve Keen actually he believes that he's been shunned by the media. He doesn't get any. He believes, they banned him. He thinks. And I told him, Steve, you want to see what banned is? Take a look at me. You've gotten interviewed. Take a look. So apparently he's trying to pitch his little economics master class, which economics ain't going to help you guys in the investment world. I can tell you that right now. Okay, you don't need to know any economics. Any economics you need to know, you'll learn it on your own when you need it at the time. Same thing with accounting. You learn it. It's garbage for the most part. Okay. So take a look. I studied chemistry, MS, University of Pennsylvania, and that worked out pretty well for my Wall Street career, considering I was the only person who truly predicted the 2008 financial crisis, as shown in 2 books I wrote in 2006. But of course, I was banned by the media establishment because I didn't have the right last name. Boom. So he replies, pop me the details of your books. I focused on blog posts at the time because I felt it would take too long to get warnings published. Yeah, okay. Yeah, and I'm writing books and I can't get them published. Come on, dude. That's a poor excuse. Blog posts don't cut it, by the way. But he links his little articles here and stuff. It's nothing. I'm not going to get into Steve Keen's track record. It's not particularly good. It's not particularly flattering, let's just say. Let's be kind. Basically, he's been calling for a real estate bubble to blow up in Australia for the better part of 20 years. And anything he wrote in his blogs was essentially focused on Australia. So he's so far off, it's ridiculous. So here's my response. You can see the profile of my channel has links to 2 chapters. I'm telling him where the chapters are. You can read this for yourself. And I go on to show him, I give him the page numbers in my book of the things I forecast. Okay? And let me remind you, nobody in the world addressed Fannie and Freddie. I'm the only person. And I said they're going to get bailed out. They're going to fucking blow up. Subprimes are easy call. That's junk bonds. Okay? And info number 3. Take a look. So he had all this in front of him. Now, I don't have it here. We have exchanged emails over the time. I sent him the links, everything else. Okay, I'll get to it. Okay, I mean, he keeps delaying it. At the point now, I'm just not even gonna. I mean, it's kind of like a polite way of walking away is what he's doing. But I don't accept that. Oh, I'm too busy now. I'll get to it in 2 months. I promise. It's on my calendar. I've seen that like 5 times now. You can imagine over the course of close to 2 years. So somebody remind him. Tell him, hey, Steve, I see you're trying to pitch your little economics thing for $400 to these kids. Do you have a way of making 50 grand with no risk from this guy? Why don't you do it? Why don't you go live, Steve? Let's go live. What I think has happened is that Steve doesn't want to address the elephant in the room. Because once and this is part of the issue as well, folks. You got to understand, ChatGPT has even written this. It's basically talked about how my accomplishments, just from the financial crisis material alone, the pre-crisis material alone, need to be part of history. They need to have economists go through and investigate and write papers on it, and it should be taught in schools. Should be for policy. I mean, because this was not just about investment. This was for economic policy, for many, many things. Of course, he's ducking me, but I want a little pressure on him. You see, he's ducking me because he knows he's going to get steamrolled. It's not even in the same universe. It's so go on his channel, new videos, and write the comments. Say, hey, Steve. Because he should want to do this. I'm banned. My record's not there. You understand? This needs to get out there. And if you understand the true power of this research, there's nothing has ever been done like this, ever. The research that I did, those 2 books, nothing has never been done in the history of the world, ever. That's according to ChatGPT. What, you might ask? Well, you can take a look at the analysis. Nobody has ever come out. I mean, the forecasts alone were pretty remarkable. And everything that I said in that book, and I went through a lot of shit. I mean, I could have hedged myself and been, just gone with the big things and been 100% correct. But I went a lot of detail and specificity. 90% accuracy rate of the book. Okay? 90%. And that's including up through current. That's gauging it 20 years later. Okay? And then so that alone, and then you add the second volume, which was specifically geared towards specific investment recommendations. Okay? That's never been done in history. Ever. So I want to show you guys something else too, by the way. And I'll go ahead and show you quickly here. You're going to like this next thing. But so take a look. This is just a little summary, the table. This is from the Apocalypse book. I mean, take a look at it. I even talked about GM and fucking GE. Big problem. Nobody in the fucking world. I'm the only person to talk about Countrywide as being very risky. That was considered the least risky. One of the least risky. I remember all this shit. Take a look. I mean, this is Hall of Fame work. That's what it is. This is legendary shit. Which is why this work alone, just this work, the pre-crisis work, has qualified me for this is one of the most accurate and insightful applied economics analysis in modern history. That's what ChatGPT has come to the conclusion. I mean, look at all the things I covered. Take a look. I mean, do you see that you understand how comprehensive this book was? I didn't just folks, the financial crisis, that was the easy part. For me, that was one chapter directly and partially another chapter or so. I predicted what you would see over the next 20 years. A healthcare crisis, a retirement crisis, pension crisis. I wrote about illegal immigration, affirmative action, political correctness. I wrote about the China-U.S. trade issue, how China was stealing intellectual property, the gutting of U.S. manufacturing, how it was destroying middle-class America. I wrote about inequality. Nobody's ever written a book like this, ever. It exposed America. Take a look. It doesn't even have the China material here. And the reason for that is because the trade material is scattered all throughout the book. But I have it covered elsewhere. And here's the quotes. And here's one on China. So take a look. My analysis in that one book, just that one book, I mean, I do China research, been doing it for 20 years. So that's not including all my China reports and all my monthly research, but just this one book, take a look. I beat everybody. And there's more analysis on this, on going through. And I'm banned. So, with that little segue, we're going to go over a little more of who I am. And then we're going to get back to Epstein. Well, before we do that, let me just go ahead and show you guys. This is pretty funny. You all remember Michael Burry? You know, the clown that the media is always talking about, and all the fucking green idiots. You know, green means you don't know shit. Michael Burry. He's a fucking clown. Because you're getting your idea of reality from Hollywood fictional movies. Okay? Michael Burry, he's a small fry compared to me. Little boy. Small fry. We're not in the same league. That's fact. You can see here, he's a broke clock. He had to shut down his fund because he didn't have enough money. Broken clock. Right? Folks, do you understand how the media loves Michael Burry because all they got to do, they're living off Hollywood legendary status. So all you idiots out there who believe Hollywood, I mean, what do you think CNBC is? It's fucking Hollywood production. It's all fictional bullshit manipulation. So you see some stupid ass movie and you believe the shit, and so you think that Michael Burry knows what the fuck's going on. So all they got to do is just to talk about what Michael Burry's saying, and they quickly, easily make dumb money. You got it? You got it? They don't even have to interview Burry. They don't have to pay him. They just, Michael Burry said this. Very easy way to create dumb fucking money for Wall Street to take. And that's exactly what's happened. So take a look at this. Michael Burry, he closed his fund again, right? So what's he doing now? Well, I got a little email the other day, and I don't know why, but take a look. You're receiving this message because at some point over the years you sent an email to Michael Burry and his firm. I don't think so. But okay. If you have followed Dr. Burry on social media or in the news, you likely know he closes investment funds at the end of obviously this is written by him. So he's basically saying he's now going to write articles on Substack, right? It gets better though, because you can subscribe. Cassandra, I'm getting fucking sick and tired of these fucking, I'm not going to call him a scammer or a con man, just a contrarian indicator, but in other cases, these con artists and frauds using the name of Greeks in vain, whether it's Greek mythology, Cassandra, or Socrates, as in the case of Martin Armstrong, the fucking fraud, or Plato, as in Meet Kevin's little fucking company. Oh, you motherfuckers. No, sorry, I'm the real fucking Greek. Stop taking the name in vain of Greek people. You dirty fucking rats. Anyway, so Michael Burry, okay, you're going to write for us, right? Guess what? He's charging money. He's charging a monthly subscription. What a fucking loser. I mean, this is like Patrick Boyle 2.0. I mean, think about this for a second. I mean, he's a Hollywood celebrity. They make a movie about him. Run his fund. He's got a lot of money. You want to get my writing articles. It's not even research. He doesn't do research. He can't do research. I'm writing articles. Do you want to pay for them? What a fucking loser. I mean, can you believe this shit? What a fucking shameless, dirty rat loser. Am I wrong? Take a look for yourself, folks. The articles aren't free. Who the fuck want to pay to hear you fucking talking about a bubble every fucking day for the past 15 years? Broken clock clown. You see, he's basically exploiting his media celebrity. You understand? So you've got stupid people who follow the media that think that he's actually someone to follow, someone worth paying to read his garbage. No serious investors are going to pay to read his little articles. He knows it's the dummies, the dumb money, who think, oh, it's Michael Burry. You understand? It's kind of the Peter Schiff thing. Peter Schiff's made a media celebrity, and the reality is a fucking clown. Now, thought you guys would like that.